What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Carrie.
What's up?
Dynamic duo pod this week, just the two of us, which is great because I can talk about this fine piece of technology.
You got
right
that
here. I got a Switch.
You got that OLED.
Yeah, they don't like you to call it the OLED. Don't call it the OLED. It's the OLED.
I was gonna ask, like, have you been calling it the OLED? Because I hear a lot of people calling it OLED, and I know in my brain I always read it as OLED.
It's well, I call it OLED because that makes sense to me. Nintendo's very specific as to not call it that. They very firmly say do not call it the OLED. It is an OLED. So I have to say, for something that is truly not a necessary upgrade for the Nintendo Switch, and something that's almost like a half measure upgrade, as we've talked about on the show when they first announced it, it's a really nice upgrade for the Nintendo Switch, I gotta say. So like Nintendo did a good job of changing very little, but making the changes that they did make be very impactful on the system. The screen is amazing. It really is. So like the system itself is only slightly larger than the original Switch, but they reduced the size of the bezels significantly. So the screen is about an inch larger, it looks humongous compared directly to the other Switch. Like, it's not that much bigger, but it feels a lot bigger. And of course, since it's an OLED screen, the colors are really fucking dope. Like, the colors look better now on this handheld system than it does when you put it in the dock, which is weird. But as someone who uses the Switch in handheld mode probably like 75% of the time, it's a very nice treat for that. The dock is much nicer. It, for some reason, the system docks into the dock more easily than it did on the old one. I don't understand how that is, because it's basically the same design. It's just a little curvier, but it seats in nicer. It's got a LAN port built in, so if you like running that wired Ethernet, you don't have to buy an adapter or anything like that. Other than that, the system's like identical though. Like there's also this, which is a fantastic upgrade. This fine kickstand, which makes it actually usable in tabletop mode. Not only can you prop it like standing upright, but it goes back like this far, so like you can even lay it down where it's like almost flat, just slightly angled. Nice and secure. It doesn't break off every time you fucking open the thing up. It lets them hide all of the like legal information underneath of that, so you don't have to like stare at it all the time. Still very much on the back of the Joy-Cons, because they didn't change any of the design there, but you know, take what you can get. But yeah, it's actually usable in tabletop mode now, which is awesome, because on my old Switch, the kickstand hinge on the system itself had gotten so worn down that even buying a brand new kickstand, it would just basically pop right out if I even opened it a little bit, which was quite annoying. And the latch wouldn't like hold it in place when it was closed. Like, it would slip out constantly, and that was a huge nuisance. So having this is nice. But again, other than that, it's the same. The internals are identical to the original Nintendo Switch. This does have the longer battery life. I have to admit that I haven't really noticed a huge change there, because I like to play my games somewhat bright anyway. But they did release a really good game to go alongside of this fancy new OLED system to take advantage of the super precise colors that it can nail, and that is Metroid Dread, or as I saw someone on Twitter correctly call it, Metroid Dead. Am I right, everybody? Holy shit, this game is actually pretty difficult in points. It's a 2D Metroid. I don't really know what else to say. Like it very much adheres to that 2D Metroid formula, which is very fun. It's amazing that Metroid in this day and age, where, you know, the vania side of that genre has definitely expressed itself more in terms of adding RPG elements. The few 2D Metroid games that have come out have kind of stayed the course on the Metroid design philosophy, and yet they're still always very, very good. And this is Dread is no different, where the gameplay feels fantastic, plays like a typical Metroid level. It's less handholdy than Fusion was. I know that was the biggest complaint that Fusion got, is that it basically kind of pointed you and told you where to go all the time. This game is much more like Super Metroid, where you have to use your map and kind of figure out where the next area to go is. The regular encounters in the game are fine. The boss battles in this game are stupid difficult, like almost like Souls level.
That's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing a lot about, because it's like there's different camera angles, and like it almost like every boss battle basically ends with some degree of a quick time event, and like if you don't hit that quick time event correctly, you have to wait for it to come back around, even if you've already damaged the boss enough. Which I don't love reading about that. I don't feel like you should. It's one thing if you can get off a big cinematic finish. It's another thing if it's like, if you don't nail this, then even though you beat the boss, you didn't beat the boss. With
the boss battles, the timing of that window is very generous. Where it's not very generous is when you encounter the Emmy robots that are the dread in the game, or they're supposed to be the dread in the game. In the game, in each of the regions on the map, there's a specific zone that is like the Emmy zone, that's patrolled by these like spider-like robots that can go biped. But the thing is that they are invincible. So if you encounter them, there's a kind of a quick time event scene that pops up where you have two chances basically to prevent from getting stabbed to death and having to restart your save. And the thing is that the timing that the stab comes out to be able to block it is purposefully inconsistent. Like it's not like there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's random. So like you can't just kind of learn the timing. It's going to fuck you up a lot. This was a big selling point for the game. The Emmys are actually kind of a nuisance more than anything. Like it's just an obstacle that you have to sort of stealth around as you progress through the game. The Emmys get new abilities. Like some of them eventually have the ability to see you through terrain, so like you can't, like, even if you're not in the same room as them, if you make too much noise, like they can still spot you and start chasing after you. They're fine, much like anything else in the game. So in Metroid games, like there's a power curve that happens where you start not very powerful, and even regular enemies can be difficult to fight, but as you gain more power-ups, you can just kind of run roughshod through everything. Like once you get the screw attack, I'm not even stopping to fight enemies, because I can just jump through them essentially.
Right.
And the Emmys are the same way. Like with the Emmys, once you get like the gravity suit, and they're not really a problem. I'm on the final boss, so like I'm almost done. The final boss of this game is ridiculously difficult, and the fight takes place across like 4 phases. So that's that's been exciting. The story's whatever, like it's typical Metroid story. Like these games are not really known for their story. It's all about the gameplay.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always enjoyed sort of the greater lore about Samus and
I like the lore of Metroid,
whatnot.
but the way the story's told in the game is never satisfying in a Metroid game.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. like I feel like you get more outside of the games than you do actually like in the run-of-the-mill area. I like the area that it takes place in. Like the planet that you're on is obviously, you have like your typical biomes like you do in in most games like this, but some of the non-biome areas are kind of unique looking. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's a cool game. I like it. It's really hard to say that this is like an instant $60 purchase for most people, because it's a great game, but
sure, I do feel like I feel like a title like Metroid coming from Nintendo is always going to be worth $60. Particularly like an actual Metroid game as opposed to like Federation Force,
Yeah.
But I do feel like the
genre's just come such a long way.
Well, right, there's that. It's the glut of these like really well done indie Metroid vania-style games that came out sort of in this like 13-year interim, where Nintendo had basically put Metroid on hiatus. And so you have a lot of really high quality, similar style games that are available for like $20. And I guess what I'm getting at is maybe those games people should be paying more for them, because I feel like people have associated Metroidvania with a certain price point, and I don't think that that's fair to the genre, and I don't think that that's fair to the Metroid Dread developers.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, like this is one of those experiences where not only are you paying for good game design, which you're getting, but you're also paying for top quality like accoutrement as well. Like the game is gorgeous. There's nary a bug in sight that I've encountered. Again, the Switch is the system that does the most with the fewest resources always, and that, you know, helps when you're Nintendo and you can give your designers a design document to develop within the hardware's capabilities as opposed to trying to push them to the extreme. And I think that always works really well for what they do. And Metroid is a case that's no different, whereas the fidelity is not necessarily the highest, but the boldness of the color palette and how the visuals look and how smooth the game is kind of make up for the fact that it's not in, you know, 4K resolution, which would be a great bonus, but it's not why I'm here. Like I'd rather have it look smooth.
Who's playing a Metroidvania style game for real photorealistic graphics? I mean, come on.
I mean, Hollow Knight looks pretty good in 4K, I'm just saying, but you know, for this game, it's good. But like I said, I like Metroid Dread a lot. I'm really enjoying my time with the Switch OLED. Again, it's a hard thing to recommend that you go out and buy. Like I think if you play your Switch regularly and you use it in handheld mode most of the time, like at least like 3/4 of the time, it's a worthy upgrade. Like especially if you're going to go trade in your current Switch at like a GameStop or something and help, you know, defer some of the cost on that. It's a real nice upgrade. It just feels more solid too. Like I don't know, like everything about it just is premium in a way that the regular Switch isn't. It's weird to say that because it's not like the regular Switch is like a piece of shit, but no,
like it's a fine console. But I understand what you're saying. It feels like an upgrade in your hands, even if it's not like the biggest difference maker.
Yeah, I mean that's if you can fucking find one though, because I'm sure this is going to have the same supply chain issues. Like I only was able to get one because I have connections still at GameStop that I was able to leverage. So
like I play my Switch a fairly decent amount. But I would say it's probably 75% in TV mode, and I only play it in handheld mode when I'm like watching a sports game at the same time, or if I'm like traveling or something like that. And I still have like a day one launch Switch, and I am very fortunate that I haven't had any issues with it. No dead pixels, no bad battery life. Like the battery life for me is just fine. But I also, here's the thing, I tend to run the screen pretty dim when I'm running in handheld mode. And I also haven't experienced Joycon Drift at all. So
see, I had drift on both my Joy-Cons. I got one fixed by Nintendo. The other one was drifting again. I just didn't feel like sending it back in just because it was just taking so long. Now, unfortunately, again, since the Joy-Cons are identical, like that's not an issue that you're going to necessarily avoid on the new Switch either. So, but we'll see. I like it though. It's good. I'm glad I talked myself into going and picking one up.
Yeah, I'm sort of holding out for a more substantial upgrade at this point. The OLED, like it's nice. I'm glad that it's good. I'm glad that particularly people like you who tend to play more in handheld mode, are getting a substantial feeling of upgrade from it. But for me, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend anyone go out and buy it. Like it's almost like a purchase of opportunity. Like if you have the money and you happen across one and it's something that would work well for you, then it's a cool upgrade, but it's not something you have to go, you know, prioritize, I don't think.
Yeah. For me, as far as what I've been playing, still grinding that Final Fantasy 14 wagon. But I'm properly into the Shadowbringers expansion now. I guess I'm about 25% of the way through that storyline, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Everything that I read about Shadowbringers, I mean, there are people who said that Shadowbringers is like the best Final Fantasy storyline since like the 90s. Like they're like, this is the best thing that they've done in a long time, and based on what I've experienced so far, I'm kind of inclined to agree with that. It's a really good story. Yeah, and to be fair, Shadowbringers of course has to build upon everything else that FF14 had done up to that point as well. So is Shadowbringers good in a vacuum? Maybe not, but it's a really good story.
Yeah,
and the game's really fun to play, and I like it a lot. I'm an MMO person now. I hate to admit.
Are you an MMO person, or are you a Final Fantasy MMO person?
I guess I'm a Final Fantasy 14 person now.
Yeah. I honestly, like I said, I'm very excited to learn anything that I can about Final Fantasy 16 at this point.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, after experiencing everything the creative team has done so far with 14, I'm just like, sign me the fuck up. I can't believe that I'm excited about a new Final Fantasy again.
I mean,
because 15 it's did literally nothing for me.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it's literally been a decade for me since I've played a new Final Fantasy game around the time that it released, because I skipped 15 because I was so bummed out on my experience with 13 that I was just like, this doesn't look in. And plus, like watching dudes bro out in a convertible, on the dusty road wasn't necessarily scratching an itch for me. So
no, it did nothing for me. But to go back to the sort of like high fantasy sort of realm and knowing the people who are involved in it, I'm just like, cool, I'm in. So yeah, I'm enjoying Shadowbringers. As a reminder, if you're listening, I play on Primal. So if you're listening and you're like, wow, I play Final Fantasy 14 and I want to party up and do some roulettes and whatnot, just hit me up. Happy to do that. So I told myself I was a DPS main, and now I have a much higher level in my tank class. So I guess I'm a tank main now. So if you need someone to tank,
you know what? That you are providing the service that the market demands. That is just
it's true. I actually really like tanking. I think I prefer tanking over DPS, honestly.
That's
DPS smart, is fun because numbers go up and it makes your brain chemicals feel good, but tanking is just, I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
I'd imagine you don't have much trouble finding a game like when you need people to party up with. Yeah.
Look, the solo DPS queue in Final Fantasy 14 is its own special layer of hell. I have sat in solo DPS queue trying to because what I normally like to do is I'll go through like a story dungeon. Like if I'm doing a dungeon for the first time, I prefer to do it as DPS. So that I can learn it, so that I can go back and then tank it later and know what I'm doing. But yeah, that solo DPS queue, sometimes it's just like, cool, I guess I'm going to be here for a half hour waiting to get sorted into something. It sucks. But Final Fantasy 14 is a good game.
I'd like to talk, before we get into new releases, about a striking bit of news this week that came out. And that is the big news coming from Eidos Montreal. Look, we are so inundated with like doom and gloom stories, it seems like, in this industry, especially over the last several months, that this is a very shockingly like great story. That still I'm going to throw in an undercurrent of trepidation underneath it. So Eidos Montreal, because of course this could never happen in fucking America. Of course it happened to happen in Canada. Has decided that their studio is going to be moving to a 4-day work week to give their developers a better work-life balance. So they're going to have Fridays off in addition to Saturdays and Sundays. They're not doing 4 10-hour days. They're going to still be doing 8-hour work days. They're not cutting salaries at all. Like, they're not, basically they're just literally giving folks an extra day off. Because a lot of studies that have checked this out, especially in like Scandinavian countries that have tried this and things of that nature, have found that employees, when they only work 4 days, generally tend to be more productive over 32 hours than they do over a 40-hour period across 5 days, because that's a lot of time to fill. So
yeah, also importantly, other time management stuff that they're doing, they are putting a time limit of 30 minutes on meetings, and they are fully embracing remote work and hybrid work. So good. Yeah. Everyone should do this.
Well,
every industry should do this.
We'll see, because I think they mentioned specifically that they're like trialing this kind of. I mean, they're not advertising as a trial, but I'd have to imagine that if somehow like deadlines significantly get pushed back, or if they start suffering from things of that nature, they might consider moving this back. I am hopeful that other game development studios and other employment places in general kind of look to see what the effects are of this. And I don't think you're going to be rushing to see a lot of folks getting to the door to be the second and third studio to do this. I think that a lot of people, especially larger studios, are going to take a wait and see approach to see kind of what the effects are, and are they still able to produce games on a reasonable schedule and things of that nature. I don't know what they're working on right now, aside from Guardians of the Galaxy, or where they are with Guardians, because that's coming out very soon. So
that's gotta be, Guardians comes out in less than a month or something like that. They're just, those discs are being produced at this point. That
they're probably just
shipping it
right now.
This article from Vice also notes that indie dev Young Horses, responsible for Bug Snacks and Octodad, they previously announced a 4-day work week, and basically their president had said it's probably possible for larger devs to adopt the same model, but quote, you have to have buy-in from the top, and their goals, processes, and expectations have to be adapted to support that change. So yeah, which makes sense. You obviously can't be like, cool, we have one less day that we're working every week and everything else is staying the same. Like, no, like obviously that's not happening. But yeah, I hope more industries do this. I hope more companies do this. I feel like work-life balance is so important regardless of what industry that you're in. And you can absolutely be just as productive over the course of 4 days rather than 5 if you're not burning yourself out by Wednesday afternoon because you're tired, because it's the middle of the week and you have nothing to look forward to because you only have 2 days off. And I forget, someone I read where it was just like, the best thing about a 4-day work week is that you have a weekend where you have a day where you did not work the previous day and you won't be working tomorrow.
That's the best part of any 3-day weekend,
right? Is when
you get to that second day and you're like, oh,
that bliss of the second day of a 3-day weekend where you're like, I didn't do shit yesterday and I don't have shit I got to do tomorrow. I can just relax.
Well, and I think the another thing that they might not realize, and when I say they, I mean other studios that aren't Eidos Montreal, this is going to potentially improve the studio from a talent standpoint as well,
because when more talented people are going to want to work for them.
Because like imagine like if they have a position open up and you're working at like Ubisoft Montreal or something, or they're about somewhere that's closer, like you might try to get in there, you know what I mean? Like that's a much better gig all the way around. Plus you don't have to, as far as we know, deal with incredible amounts of sexual harassment at Eidos Montreal.
Wow.
What a nice concept there. But and that's I'm very curious to see like the long-term prospects of this switch for them, and just to see how it impacts the people that work there, people that come there, their production schedule, things of that nature as well.
I feel like at large we are sort of sitting on the precipice of big changes as far as like how people manage a work-life balance. I feel like this is indicative of that. I've heard of other companies and other industries switching to that, or switching to full-time hybrid work rather than forcing all of their employees to return home from the office, because surprise, the pandemic proved that everyone can work from home. I mean, not everyone. Obviously, a lot of people cannot work from home. People who have very hands-on types of work cannot work from home. But for those of us who have office types of jobs, we don't actually need to spend the gas, wake up early, spend 2 hours in the car commuting, driving back and forth from an office. And wow, we're productive at home because we're happier, because we're not sitting in rush hour traffic being miserable every day.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's not just also, hybrid work. It's the fact that I think I want to say like the jobs report that came out most recently said that there was about 10.5 million jobs open in the US right now, just because a lot of folks weren't coming, and most of the jobs that are open are jobs in like service industries and retail industries and things of that nature, because people are fine, like as a collective,
because everyone who got told if you want to get paid more, get a better job, went and got better jobs,
right? And people are starting to realize their self-worth a little bit, and they're thinking to themselves like, and a lot of people will blame, like it's because they're giving all this extra money for unemployment, and that's like when states took that benefit away, there was not an appreciable change in the amount of jobs that were available. And so a lot of people are saying, on unemployment, like I don't make nearly as much as I could with a regular job, but I'm a lot happier while I look for a job that's a little bit more fulfilling, that has better benefits, that has better pay, that's more respectable of my
where
time.
I don't get screamed at by Karens every day,
right?
Where I make a livable wage.
It's just funny because there's been a push to kind of like move more towards unionization again in this country, and the one and I mean the only silver lining of COVID is that it might have kind of self-unionized a lot of the lower workforce in a lot of ways, in terms of like people that are working like entry-level jobs and things of that nature. So it's been very interesting to see that when you have fast food places that are offering like $15 an hour and signing bonuses and things of that nature. Like that says a lot about the collective
it's almost as if you should
environment.
have been doing that the whole time, and you wouldn't be dealing with a worker shortage if you treated the workers you had with any shred of decency to begin with, instead of treating them disposable. Turns out you run out of workers if you don't appreciate them. What a fucking concept.
100% correct. So it's very interesting story out of Montreal, so we will see how that affects things going forward. There are a few new games that are coming out this week. Book of Travels on PC, Back 4 Blood on PC, PlayStation, Xbox. Saw an excellent tweet from the KFC gaming account today. KFC has a gaming Twitter account. Who knew?
Sure.
Where it was something like with Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood side by side, and they said, every generation has its cheap knockoff imitator that's not as good as the original. Not forgetting, of course, the fact that the game was developed by the same fucking studio.
Right.
So let's not go there. But the Turtle Rock Twitter account replied to them, said, it's like, what a shame, like 11 herbs and spices and still no taste. Excellent clapback from those guys.
Popeyes is better anyway.
Say again.
Popeyes is better anyway.
100% correct. Disco Elysium Final Cut comes to Xbox and Switch. I didn't realize it wasn't on Xbox. It was apparently only on PlayStation and PC. Ori the Collection comes to Switch. A Little Golf Journey comes to PC and Switch. Despot's Game comes to PC. Godstrike comes to PlayStation and Xbox. That game's probably terrible. I don't know anything about it, but just for the title, sounds awful. Jackbox Party Pack 8 comes to everything. Ruin Raiders comes to PC and Switch. Sphere Flying Cities comes to PC. The Crisis Remastered Trilogy comes to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Demon Slayer The Hikonami Chronicles comes to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. The Good Life comes to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. And Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town comes to PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, that's the remake of the old Game Boy Advance game, and it's really good, and people should play it. Godstrike has an art style that explicitly looks like it's ripping off Hades.
That is not surprising.
It's a twin stick shooter, and it is not getting good reviews. So yep, you were spot on.
Look, when you've been in and around this industry for as long as we have, you can usually spot them just from the titles.
Yep. Well, if you want to talk about Godstrike or any other garbage coming out, you can do so by joining our Discord. You can head to densepixels.com/fans, and that will take you to the official Dense Pixels podcast Discord, where you can hang out with us, talk about whatever. We got channels for non-gaming stuff too. If you want to talk about wrestling, we got wrestle channels. If you want to talk about football or F1 racing, we've got channels for that too. Hang out. It's a good time. And don't forget to subscribe to all of the other TNP Studios podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse podcast, Black on Black Cinema, Coming Distractions, and the weekly preview episode of Look Forward. And a lot of those shows are available on YouTube, including ours. So you can head to youtube.com/densepixels, or you can watch the Nerdpocalypse on YouTube. I don't know why you would want to, when we are obviously the most attractive podcast host on this network. I'm going to get shit from Jay. And don't forget about our premium content. We have a full premium slate of shows that's just $5 a month or $50 for the year. And that gives you access to all of our premium content, including the airing of Grievances, No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, my musicals podcast, Upstage Conversation, which I'm hoping to have a new episode out this month because Jay wants to rip into Rocky Horror Picture Show for some reason. And you can also catch full episodes of the Look Forward political podcast. So
I thought that was generally beloved Rocky Horror Picture Show.
So I haven't watched the movie Rocky Horror since I think I was in high school. Mm-hmm. I'm intimately familiar with the music, having played some of it in like pep band in college. But yeah, so Rocky Horror for me, like, I feel like the people who are into Rocky Horror are like really into Rocky Horror, and everyone else is largely indifferent. And I think Jay is one of the few who just fucking hates it. So seeing as it is spooky season, I am hoping to get that episode done and out in time for Spooky Ween. So
a very quick update on the Activision Blizzard fiasco. We talked about last week how they settled with the US EEOC for the tune of $18 million for its affected employees in a investigation that they had sexually harassed, discriminated, and discriminated against folks and retaliated against folks for reporting on the behavior. Apparently, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, who is also investigating Activision Blizzard, is objecting to the settlement because the settlement could harm the case that they're building against Activision Blizzard, because the terms of the settlement is that it would require employees to release Activision Blizzard from claims under California state law, which was not widely reported, I don't think.
No, I don't believe
the settlement
it was.
first broke, which is interesting.
Yeah. I think that's fair for them to object. They said that their pending enforcement action will be harmed by uninformed waivers that the proposed decree makes conditional for victims to obtain relief. So basically, if employees want to get something out of this fund that the settlement is founding, then they no longer get anything out of this other suit that's ongoing.
Yeah.
So that's sort of fucked up.
Just a bit. That's and it kind of explains why Activision Blizzard was so fast to run to the table with the original settlement if they knew that it would get them.
Because they sort of maybe snuck that in there. And of course, Activision's response was, "We are committed to making Activision Blizzard the most welcoming, inclusive, and safe workplace possible." No, you're not. No, that's a fucking lie. You're clearly not. You just don't know. They get sued into the ground.
They do have that former Bush admin lady who's like, "This isn't the company that I'm familiar with, that I've worked at for like 5 months." So
right. Activision Blizzard is ensuring a workplace free from discrimination, harassment, or unequal treatment of any kind. Did you fire all the fucking assholes responsible for this shit? Because if you didn't, then you're not ensuring anything.
I mean, they're continuing to work on that at least, which is a good thing. So,
like, I mean, obviously, I want to see them continue to work on this, but I hate this PR speak of like, oh, we want a workplace free from. It's just like, shut up, just stop. I'm so tired of it.
Twitch continues to find itself in difficult situations. So last week, a massive data breach happened where a 126 gig torrent was uploaded to 4chan, and the leak had a lot of fucking stuff on there. Here's a list of things that were in this thing that leaked out. The entirety of Twitch TV, all the way back to its beginnings, like all their data files and things of that nature, mobile, desktop, and video game console Twitch clients, proprietary SDKs, every other property that Twitch happens to own, an unreleased Steam competitor from Amazon Game Studios was in here, Twitch red team tools, which were on there, and creator payouts dating back to 2019, which was a very interesting bit of news to find out.
So what's interesting is that the people who did this hack, very easily, since they got everything from Twitch, they very easily could have fucked over a lot of people by releasing emails and passwords and whatnot, but they didn't do that, which is nice. And it seems that this is
this is the smallest amount of benevolence from
it's
from
nice of them that they didn't do that. Here's the thing, if you're listening to this and you have a Twitch account and you haven't changed your password yet, you should go and you should do that.
Also also enable 2FA if you have not done it yet either.
Yeah,
that's also kind of a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
They did reset everyone's stream keys as well.
Yeah,
I got an email.
Too.
So yep.
Yeah. So the post, which contained all of this leaked information, also included the hashtag #DoBetterTwitch hashtag, which seems to indicate that this hack is the result of people being fed up with Twitch not doing anything really to combat hate raids and stuff like that, which is what the #DoBetterTwitch hashtag
well, and not only that, one of the interesting things that we saw, and the reason why streamer payouts was an interesting bit of information is we've discovered that the vast majority of people that make like significant amounts of money on Twitch all generally have one thing in common, and that is that they're white men.
Yeah,
in general. And people started really looking at especially some of the female creators, some of the creators that are people of color who were high up in the income earnings, and kind of comparing how they were promoted on like Twitch's main page and in suggested streams and things of that nature, and finding that Twitch really isn't doing a whole lot to lift up any particular communities. Like they're just kind of letting the algorithm kind of run with it without really tailoring recommendations or providing a boost to channels that maybe could use a little bit more signal amplification and things of that nature. So
yeah, the payouts thing is interesting for me. I saw some people, particularly regarding Critical Role's payout, because I think they were by far the top earner, which shouldn't surprise anyone that it's like, oh, they've made like $9.1 million dating back to 2019, and it's like and like that shouldn't come as a surprise. I think some people are seeing these numbers and are like, oh, these people are making millions and millions of dollars, and it's like Matt Mercer is not pocketing $9.1 million based on his fucking D&D game.
No, he's got a fucking team of people there.
Well, that's exactly it. And that's the case with a lot of these top earners, is that they have a production team behind them in some form or fashion, whether it's people literally running their board or their cameras, or mod teams that get paid and stuff, some fashion and stuff like that. Plus all of these numbers reported are like pre-tax, so they still have to pay taxes. But
that old little chestnut there,
right? It's like someone did the math for the Critical Role team and was like, okay, if we're just taking like the actors and we're doing this and we're accounting for taxes, it basically boils down to each of the primary people on Critical Role has made like roughly $65,000 a year since 2019 based on Twitch streams. And that doesn't account for any of their production staff. That doesn't account for any of the equipment that they have to buy. That doesn't account for the numerous people behind the scenes who are making the figures and all of this stuff. But it's like 65,000 in LA is not a lot of money. When it's like, it's not poverty wages, but it's not, you know, they're not living large based on their fucking Twitch streams. And I feel like I saw this really weird response to some of these Twitch payout numbers, because I feel like it made people realize that these people are not your personal friends, that they're a company providing an entertainment product. I don't
I mean, it is, and nor should they be begrudged for that. Like if you're doing a good job and providing a service that people like, then yeah, fucking A, get paid. Like it's
right.
like
I'm not a massive Critical Role fan. I appreciate what they do, but they provide multiple hours worth of entertainment every single week for free for listeners, and people are upset because it's like, oh, well, this isn't just a friendly little D&D game. It's like, when did they promote that it was?
When was it ever? It might have started that way, but it's, you know, it's turned into a legitimate business. Like it's not, you know.
Laura Bailey is not your party member, you know, like it's just people with Twitch especially, you get that weird like parasocial interaction between the people running the streams and the listeners. And I know there's been some deep dives done into that. Kotaku actually did a really good one a couple years ago where literally this viewer like showed up at this dude's house and was like, we're friends, right? And it's just like, no, like it's because you watch someone's Twitch stream every time that they stream, even if you give them money, even if you're a longtime subscriber, that doesn't mean that you're friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like these numbers being put up by a lot of these big streamers, like it's finally starting to click for some people that these people are not their close personal friends, and that's making them upset for some reason.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, it's no different than watching a TV show and like assuming that you're like besties with the actors. And I'm sure there are people
it is different than watching a TV show because you do get that level of interaction.
That's sometimes. True. You can comment and
you get those good brain chemicals when the streamer reads the message that you left with your donation, or you see your name pop up on their stream or something like that, you know. It's
a fair point. It's fair point. So, but yeah, it's I just don't understand how all of this data could be kind of just left out in a place where people could get it. And again, I know it's not easy to get this stuff, but you're fucking Amazon, man. Like this shit should be under lock and key. Like what the hell? So I'm happy they didn't leak out any of the pertinent subscriber information or any of the you know, user details. Like that would have been pretty shitty. But yeah, just another black eye for Twitch in what's been a
long
non-stop brigade of them. Yeah, it's been, I mean, like I said, they're finding themselves in the news quite a bit for all the wrong reasons here, which is very unfortunate for them. But like I said, hopefully they can get this shit sorted out, and hopefully they can maybe be thrust to the public, you know, the public I can't talk today. The surfacing of these numbers to like I could say publicization, to maybe seeing how their promotion practices work and what streamers that they're propping up on main pages and things of that nature as well. So we'll see what happens there. A fascinating story. So there's a story on Eurogamer. The title's "The Big Interview: EA, FIFA, and Loot Boxes." It's an interview that Wesley Yin-Poole did with EA's, let me see if I can find his title, EA's Chief Experience Officer, Chris Bruzzo, speaking about Ultimate Team. It was about a half an hour interview. Wesley Yin-Poole posted the interview in full in this article. I would highly encourage you, if you have time, to read this whole thing, because we're not going to dig too deep into the story. I wanted to talk about it because I read it today and I found EA's defense of loot boxes to be incredible. And I don't mean that like in the like, wow, that's amazing kind of way. Like I'm dumbfounded that this is the angle of approach that they're willing to take. So basically the first question that was asked is, you had loot boxes in Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was a high source of controversy. It made the game pay to win, essentially. Yeah. And you guys realized that you fucked up and you reverse course on that and fixed that issue. However, they've persisted in your sports games, specifically FIFA in this case. And essentially, like, these loot boxes are still pay to win mechanics. Like, even though you're getting a random pool of stuff, it stands to reason that the more packs you open, the better team you're going to have. And EA kind of laid down a lot of their typical defenses. Like, they talk about how FIFA is a skill-based game, which it is. Like if someone that is bad at the game has a 95 rated team against someone who's good at the game with an 80 rated team, the player who's better is still probably going to win, because talent can only get you so far. But the other thing they said is that it's important that loot boxes are in the game. And the reason that they said it is because they truly believe their motto of EA Sports, it's in the game. So like because in real soccer, a team to make themselves better can go out and pick up like a superstar player and throw money at that player to make their team better. Their players should also be able to do the same thing in their fake, fantasy trading card game that they've created for FIFA. That option should exist. And then, like, Wesley and Poole asked the logical question is that, well, that's not the same thing, because it's not like when Tottenham Hotspur goes out and spends 10 million.
Right, they don't spend $10 million on a random player. Randos.
Yeah, like they know which player they're getting. And in FIFA, like, it's always a random pool. And they've taken steps to kind of be more transparent. Like they have the percentage chances now of what, how good a player you're going to get. This year they instituted pack previews where you can see the best player that's in, like, a player that you're guaranteed to get if you buy this pack. Or you can buy this random pack that you don't know what it's going to be if you don't like the player that's there. And then you can wait 4 hours and then it'll cycle a new guaranteed pack. But yeah, so basically that was their excuse, is that you should be able to do this because that's how sports is in real life. They kept also is in real right. Life. And then, like, Wesley and Poole also said, like, when I'm playing someone on FIFA, how do I know, like, the person that I see this has a super team? Like, how do I know that this guy, like, grinded his way to be having this amazing team, or that this player just spent a shitload of money? Like how do I know what I'm going up against, like, based on what I see? And he's like, and they kept going back to this other statistic that they threw out, whereas that 9 out of every 10 ultimate team packs are paid for with in-game coins that you earn, and not the FIFA points that you buy. But he's like, okay, great, but what if it's the 1 out of 10 that I happen to be up against, like, that I'm playing? And he's just like, and well, it's important that players have choice. Like, players should be able to do this if they want to, and things of that nature.
I don't inherently disagree with that, where if players do that, they should be allowed to do that. But I feel like people should know if someone's, like, spent a fuck ton of money. Like, there should be some indicator of this was paid for with, like, real money bucks rather than fucking EA coins.
Well, and he talks about, like, kids getting into it, and they talk about, well, no one under the age of 18 should be paying money in FIFA. Like, that's not what it should be. And then they advertise in a children's magazine.
Right. I mean, that's a fuck up on their part. I do think that, like, he specifically said kids should not be spending in our game, children should not be spending in FIFA. And it's like, well, they do. And it's like, if kids are spending money on video games, whether that be in Fortnite or in FIFA or even on, like, Twitch subs and whatnot, At what point do we say the parents should have some degree of responsibility in what their kids are spending all this money on? Like, yeah. If, you know, I'm not a parent, so like, I don't know. I don't have this frame of reference, right? But like, I keep seeing stuff. I hear criticisms of certain female Twitch streamers where it's like, oh, well, they're preying on children. And it's like, how are they preying on children? It's like, oh, well, they get money from kids. Why do they get money from kids? Because their parents gave them their fucking credit card. Like, you can't always, like, I am not pro loot box at all. I think loot boxes are a shitty system, especially when you can buy them for real, actual, valid government currency. But there's got to be some degree of responsibility from the adults in this situation, right? Like, no one's forcing children to spend money.
So this show has a long and storied history of being pro parents be aware of what your kids are doing kind of stuff. So like, I don't disagree with you. However, when it comes to things like loot boxes in FIFA and things like, and this is not just a FIFA exclusive thing, like this is true of gacha games, like this is true of
all gacha games, any form of loot box, it's like, it's specifically formulated to like push that button in your brain that releases the good brain chemicals, because it always like lights up and it's like boo boo boo, and like you get the sparkles and the jingle and the fun music, and then you receive something.
Right. But do you know what this reminds me
gambling.
of? It reminds me of the kind of like flaccid defense that like the Camel cigarette company offered up in the 90s as to why they needed to use a cartoon camel in all of their advertisements. And seriously, because like Congress, like,
I remember seeing Joe Camel as a kid.
Yeah, like Congress said to them, like, you are advertising this towards younger people and it's getting like teenagers to want to smoke, and they're like, nah, it's bullshit. And they're like, you have a fucking cartoon character advertising your product, like that's literally what you're doing. And that kind of, I feel the same way with Ultimate Team, is that parents do need to take responsibility for what their kids are doing and should be aware of what their kids are playing and how they can be taken advantage of in situations like that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But when you're advertising loot box and FIFA Ultimate Team, it's like a fucking slot machine. Like, I know you've never played FIFA. It is a slot machine. I know you've never played FIFA before, Carrie, but literally
all loot boxes are slot machines.
Right, but just to give you the idea of how it works, FIFA, and most loot boxes work in a very similar fashion. In FIFA, you open the pack of cards, and like they have this like little like video that plays with like this on-screen graphic, and like, you know, especially if you pull a good player, like this confetti explodes and the player's avatar like comes out on the screen and the crowd goes nuts. Like, it's literally a fucking slot machine. Like, like the winning mechanic is exactly the fucking same. And it's a very disingenuous argument to be like, oh, we're just putting these in here because that's how real sports is, and that's how FIFA has to be.
Counter argument.
Like that's not how argument.
One, that's not how real sports is.
Yeah.
Two, loot boxes are, I feel like, inherently vile. Like, I don't think it necessarily matters what game it is. I think all forms of loot boxes that rely on you paying actual real money dollars. It shouldn't be an option. It'd be one thing if you could only buy loot boxes using the in-game currency.
Yeah. And that's not even like it. They're still frustrating sometimes anyway. Like, I'm playing fucking Hot Wheels right now, and you can only buy loot. But I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Hot Wheels Unleashed is really good. You should all play it. It's fantastic if you like arcade racing games. But they have blind boxes in that game as well. And you can only spend in-game money to buy them, and I'm getting pissed off because I'm pulling duplicates constantly with cars that I've already gotten, and that's within just completely in-game mechanic as well. Like, the mechanic sucks, but I agree with you that if you're gonna insist on having them, fine, but A, only do it in-game money, and B, anything that you get out of them should not be used in a competitive gaming environment. Like Hot Wheels, yes, you're getting cars, and some cars will be better than others, and you can race online with them and all that other stuff. But it's fucking Hot Wheels. Like, it doesn't matter. FIFA is a serious fucking, it's an industry. Like, it's an actual fucking business, an actual fucking industry, and encouraging people, and especially people like, I'm not worried about like people like me who, you know, when I play FIFA, like it's for like maybe, you know, 4 or 5 hours a week, like that kind of thing. Like, I'm talking about the people that put in like 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week in FIFA, maybe, you know, around that, and or maybe just below that tier to being like able to get like into like the semi-pro or pro ranks of FIFA. And like, those are the people that are going to be encouraged to just fucking throw money at the game, because the pros don't need to worry about that shit. They're gifted coins out the wazoo by EA, and they play the game so much, they play it like it's a full-time job, that they can navigate the transfer market, and they'll have the players to get whatever the fuck they want. They don't need to worry about it. But the people that are trying to break in, those are the people that I would be very concerned about throwing a shitload of money at the game and just kind of bankrupting themselves to chase that thing that they're close to. And again, EA is not doing anything to discourage people from participating in that.
Like, let me be clear. I do not think EA is remotely in the right as far as this is concerned. I think their system with this is fucked up. I do just think this whole but what about the children sort of thing that people tend to take with stuff like this. It's like, maybe monitor what your kids are doing online. Maybe don't let your kid have access to your credit card.
Well, now I've already know the show title, and I already know the image I'm going to use. Helen Lovejoy. Please, won't somebody think of the children?
Won't someone think of the children? I mean, like, I've had to have this conversation with my cousins who all have young kids, where it's like a couple years ago, one of them ran up like $75 buying fucking V-Bucks or whatever on Fortnite, and I'm just like,
$7,500?
No, $75.
Oh, Jesus
like
Christ.
75.
I heard 100 after that.
No, and here's the thing. I told him, I was like, 1, that sucks. 2, I've heard way worse. Like, I've heard way worse. I'm like, $75 is nothing compared to what I've heard of people doing. But I'm just like, do you have parental controls on your system so that your 10-year-old son doesn't spend money without you knowing about it? And he was like, no. And I was like, why not? Because that wouldn't have happened if you had used the stuff that's built into the system. So yeah, I don't know. I just, loot boxes are bad, but also like, know what your kids are up to. I'm like, I'm not a parent, but isn't that part of like the responsibilities of being a parent?
It is. And again, I hope that our generation will be much better equipped to deal with kind of these technological
that's a pitfalls. For sure. Yeah.
Because we at least grew up experience with it. So
like grew up with video games really or anything like that. So they don't necessarily have the same sort of frame of reference. But anyway, if you want to buy something for your kid, you can do that by going to densepixels.com/Amazon and bending over for Daddy Bezos once more. But if you do it through our link, which is again densepixels.com/Amazon, we get like they skim a little off the top and they give it to us, and that's sort of cool. I mean, very sincerely, fuck Jeff Bezos. I hope the next time they launch him into space, he doesn't come back. But you know, if you're going to consume under capitalism, as we all do it in a way that benefits your friends at Dense Pixels.
You can't avoid capitalism, so you might as well just give money, spread your money, and make sure it ends up in the hands of the people. Look,
there's no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism, but this is you know, you help us out. It gets you
3 to 4% closer to doing so.
And on that note, we go to the Dense Pixels post office.
We're going. I'm quickly I'm vamping for time as I scramble to open Discord.
All right, cool. Now. I will go ahead. I'll start reading. First questions come from Daniel. Daniel asks, did you ever beat a game start to finish in an arcade?
One of my fondest childhood memories was, and you might be too young for this. There you might be. So there used to be an arcade in Garrison Forest Plaza. I don't know if you were alive when that existed. It might
Party on Pizza?
Maybe. I don't remember what the establishment was.
Did it have a Rock-afire Explosion band in it, like the animatronics?
I don't think so.
Okay, because when I was a kid, there was it. When I was a kid, it was called Party on Pizza, and it had previously been a Showbiz Pizza place, so it had a Rock-afire Explosion band in the back. But it was largely an arcade, so I have very fond memories of playing Pogs and
it could have been the place. I know I was there once ever. So it was a friend's, I want to say 7th or 8th birthday party, and of course in the arcade, the coolest thing about going to a kid's birthday party at the arcade, is that all the machines get put onto free play.
Yeah,
which is great because you're renting out the arcade. So me and 3 friends all teamed up to play and beat the Simpsons arcade game, which was the first time that I'd ever done that, and it was a lot of fun. We played for like I don't know how long it took a little bit, but I distinctly remember playing the Simpsons arcade game to completion.
Was it the buildings like that's now the Party City over there?
No, it wasn't that. It was I think it was more on the right side, more towards the Safeway side of the shopping center.
Okay.
So like I said, it's been a very long time.
Yeah.
Very long time.
And then for me, he asked, I like anime, but only for the ridiculous wall-to-wall action. Do you have recommendations for a series that are light on story? I might get to enjoying the storytelling someday. If you really like good action, just watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I tell everyone to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Start with season 1. It's all on Netflix. I think it's both subbed and dubbed on Netflix, but particularly the first like 3 seasons are basically like all about the stupid action and not so much about the interesting story. There's like vampires and shit, but whatever. Cam asks, will there ever be a console launch that doesn't suck for the majority of consumers?
No. No. There will never be a console launch that will meet the initial demand that there will be for it. It just won't be. Just to say nothing of right now, just because the launch right now is amplified by the fact that there's chip shortage all over the country since COVID was the thing. Yeah. But it's just there are unless they took like literally a year to manufacture before they shipped and sold, they would literally, it's just impossible to manufacture enough consoles to meet what the demand is going to be, and it doesn't benefit them to take a year to ship and sell when you can take 3 months to do it and then ship and sell more 3 months later, and then ship and sell more 3 months later, and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, it'll always suck. It will. It just is what it is. So
agreed. Casa asks, Carrie, at my partner's suggestion, I've begun watching Utena. Thanks to video games and anime, I can hand wave a degree of venias in music to raise the dramatic stakes. That said, have you got any insights as to what is going on with the lyrics in the show? I can't connect the dots between the Cretaceous period, the Cambrian period, Ammonite, and a dramatic sword fight beneath an upside-down floating castle on a flower-shaped platform with questionable structural integrity. Shrug anime. So Utena, great. Utena is like my all-time favorite series. I love Utena a lot. No, I can't fucking help you with the lyrics in the dual songs. I actually have some of them up right now. Sure, I could sit down and do like a master's thesis about how all of the lyrics and all of the dual songs are a reflection of where Utena and whoever she happens to be dueling sort of are at that point in the story. But no, like I can't explain to you the lyrics of Paleozoic Within the Body, which is the second dual song in the series. I don't have enough time for that, but keep watching Utena. It's really good. I don't know what the fuck J.A. Caesar was on when he was writing all of this music, though.
That was 120 seconds of words that I understood literally nothing of.
Sorry to the listeners. I do think everyone
that is Utena, I mean, that's fair because you put up with a lot of wrestling and nonsense talk that we had to let you get your anime shit in every now and then. So
Steven asks, with the global supply chain struggles this year, do you think that there will be much in the way of Black Friday sales for physical electronics? Due to the lack of inventory, there may not be enough incentive for them to mark down common sale items compared to previous years.
So just to give you guys a little peek behind the retail curtain, the way Black Friday specifically works is a lot of times places will get product in advance of Black Friday and then sit on it, essentially. Like, so because since they're advertising sales and since they're usually advertising having stuff in stock. They can't afford to make it available for sale before then. So like this happened with the Nintendo Switch, where, you know, at GameStop, we would get Nintendo Switches in a pretty decent amount in advance of Black Friday. This is when the system first came out. They were really hard to get. But since we advertised that we would have it on sale, we made sure that we held back like a dozen. Like it wasn't very many. You typically were only going to get involved if you were there on a doorbuster, but we typically held them back. Some consoles, and PlayStation was most famous for doing this because they did like the Black Friday bundles for the last couple of years. Some consoles are actually street dated. So like even though it's a PS4, like when they bundled in like, hey, it's a PS4, but you also get like The Last of Us and God of War and this and the other thing, like those were actually street dated for Black Friday. So like we literally could not sell them before then. As far as like availability, I think that the availability will be generally the same. Again, a lot of companies have been doing their ordering with the knowledge that there's a supply chain shortage right now, and that it's tough to get stuff shipped from overseas or even produced overseas right now. So like, I think they've been planning on this. So you will see a similar amount of inventory, but don't expect it to be like bursting at the seams. Like it's still going to be difficult to get a PS5 this holiday. It's still going to be difficult to get a Switch OLED or an Xbox Series X, or maybe even the new, the new iPad or this other thing. Like it's going to be tricky to get some of the things that you might really want, just because that's what the distribution chain is right now. It's every industry. Like my industry that I work in has been dealing with it.
I think you're going to see the same sort of deals advertised as you see every year. I don't know that the supply is going to be there. But they're definitely going to market the shit out of them, because all they want is for you to get your butt into the store. It doesn't matter if they're sold out of the OLED Switch. Your ass is in the store because you were looking for one, and now you're probably going to leave with something else.
Like the only deal that you're going to get with Black Friday is that like lately, like all the retail locations have been selling, like when they do get PS5s in, when they do get Switches in, they've been selling them only as bundles. The only deal that you're going to get is that you'll be able to buy them separately for whatever stock that they have. So
I think you're going to see a lot of software deals. I
100%.
just don't think the hardware is going to be there.
Yep.
Trey asks if you guys could have any American studio make a game based on your fave or most like anime, whom and what would it be? # mouthful of toast forever. I'm not bringing that show back, but I appreciate the moral support. I don't know. They made there was an Utena like visual novel made for the Sega Saturn back in the 90s. I actually own it. I own a legitimate Sega Saturn game. It's in my house. I don't have a Sega Saturn. I'm never going to play it. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. Like the JoJo fighters that have come out somewhat recently. And when I say somewhat recently, I mean within the past decade. Those have been fun. I would almost like a JoJo, and it's not, I mean, this isn't an American developer. I would like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure like Muso style game. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know. I can't think of an American developer I would want to make an anime game.
Akira?
You even have a favorite anime, Brad?
Akira, I guess. I don't know. Like that's the only one I know. It's the only one I know. So
wow.
Ghost in the Shell? Like I don't know what any of these things are. So
yeah. Film Wanderer asks, what's a Castlevania game that deserves more respect from fans and critics, and why is it Lament of Innocence for the PlayStation 2?
It's not. The actual answer to this question is the Castlevania game that seems to somehow fly under the radar despite being the best of the 2D side-scrolling, not Metroid style Castlevania games, and that's Dracula's Curse. I never hear anyone talk about Dracula's Curse. Maybe that's just me missing the discourse, but Dracula's Curse is a fucking amazing game, and I feel like it does not get the respect. Like Castlevania 1 gets a shitload of respect, Castlevania or Super Castlevania gets a shitload of respect, and then I feel like then maybe like Rondo of Blood gets some respect, but other than that, I don't feel like anything talks about
Dracula's Curse, I think, is only people only really recently started picking up on Dracula's Curse since it was the basis of the Netflix
Netflix show.
Yeah,
it's got the best music. It's the first Castlevania game that had multiple playable characters in it. Like it's got divergent paths for an NES game, which is insane.
Yeah.
Fucking great game. Like I don't understand how Dracula's Curse, how its virtues are not sung from the mountaintop. That is the correct answer.
Obviously, Castlevania 64 is the most underrated game, and that's because it has a character named Carrie in it. There aren't many video game characters named Carrie, but Castlevania 64 has one of the few. Vic Bear asks, how do you guys time manage for your gaming? As I'm getting older, I'm finding it harder and harder to find the time to game between work, kids, my nagging wife. So I'm gonna side note, don't say that about your wife. That's not cute.
Some wives nag though.
Old man naps and 10 hours of wrestling a week. I can only squeeze in an hour at most. I'm literally still playing games from 2017. I'm so far behind. You guys are just as busy as I am. So how long are you guys playing on any given day? And where do you find the time? Well, one, I don't have kids. So, and I'm not going to have kids. So that frees up a lot of my time for things that I actually want to do.
So for me, I have discovered that as you get older, especially as you have kids and as kids require, as much attention as possible, you have to trim your hobby tree. Like you have to really like trim things down to the things that you want to do the most. For me, like I was doing way too much with like content creation and stuff like that. And since I got the new job like a year and a half ago, I haven't really been doing the Watch YouTube channel just because it was so time consuming and I didn't really have the time to do it, because I used to do that on my day off during the week that I had where a kid was in school and wife was at work and I was at home all day and I could crank out a video. Like it was great. Now it's not easy to do that. Like I actually get to see my family on the weekends, which is great. And I like spending time with them. I just book time for it though. Like there's some days where, I'm just feeling it. I usually play a lot after my kid goes to bed, like, cause usually we're winding down anyway, cause it's around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So the wife is, watching her programs and I'll play video games for an hour or two and that'll be that thing. And I try to find, a block of time, at least one block of time on the weekend, that I can play for a decent amount of time. So like, I would say that my gaming gets in there between 10 and 15 hours a week. I'm also a gaming multitasker. Like I'll listen to games while I'm listening to podcasts or while I have wrestling on the other monitor. Like I'll have PlayStation on one monitor and wrestling on the other, and I'll half pay attention to wrestling because right now that's all you need to pay attention to wrestling because of the quality of product that's been going out there. So like I try to multitask as much as I can as well to get as much content absorbed into my brain as I can.
Yeah, I mean, if there's like a big game coming out that I've really looked forward to for a long time, I'll straight up take a day off of work. Like
yeah, I've done that before too. Absolutely.
Like so. For me, like I am very spoiled in so much that I work full-time from home. And so like I have that extra, 45 minutes to an hour before, where I would otherwise be commuting. I can literally just close my email, open up Final Fantasy, and it's just like, cool. And now I'm here. Yeah. I'll do it on my lunch break. It's whatever. I'll have days where it's like, all right, it's like 4:30 and I've done what I needed to do for today. So I'm just going to roll straight into a game or something like that. So yeah, I spend a lot of my free time gaming because I don't really have many other responsibilities outside of work. I have my band, I have my orchestra. I do spend a lot of time arranging and whatnot and doing my sort of like music hobby sort of stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't say I have to like schedule time for it, but as a happily child-free adult, I don't have to like schedule around making sure kids get to school or to daycare or making sure homework gets done or shit like that.
Yep.
So, very lucky.
And the other thing too is like like me and my wife don't have to actively be doing stuff together all the time. Like we enjoy just being in each other's company. So like I'll be playing my Switch on the couch and she'll be playing her Switch or reading a book or doing something, and just being around each other sometimes is enough. Like, you know, we don't need to be actively watching a TV show or a movie or anything like that. So
if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that my husband's desk is behind me, and like we play Final Fantasy together, like we play Monster Hunter together, but we've got our own games and we have our own online friends that we do stuff with. So
So, but no, it's not easy. It's not easy. But like I said, if you dedicate the time, if you find the time and commit to the time, then you can do it. So.
It's about prioritizing what free time you have, and circling back to an earlier point, having a healthy work-life balance. And I feel like part of having a healthy work-life balance is making sure that the life portion of that is balanced between the people who need that time from you and what you choose to do and what free time you have. I mean, it's tough if you've got a kid, and you should be prioritizing your kid, being a good parent and whatnot. But I don't know, everyone needs time to themselves, and what you choose to do at that time is up to you. Johnny asks, after seeing how much people are making from the Twitch leak, is Micah going to step up and make this show some money with a just chatting channel for those ASMR perverts?
He fucking should.
He should. Bastard. I mean, he could just like narrate books. just read whatever children's book he's reading to his kid.
Daniel says he'd subscribe to Micah just narrating things. As well. So.
As if Micah would share any of that Twitch money with us, though. I mean, come on. He would not. He would like, we'd be like, yo, where is it? And he'd be like, I spent it on this game that I'm not going to play.
Wait till Mike is back next week and we can harass him about what he has been playing.
Yeah, because he deserves to be harassed about
it. Does. He deserves to be harassed because he's now being hypocritical against himself. But we'll leave that for later on. So
finally, from the post office this week, Jamal says, recently Best Buy offered PlayStation 5s locked behind their new Total Tech membership, which costs $200 a year. What are your thoughts on this after a year of console scarcity? And Brad, if they offered this for an Xbox Series X, would you consider it?
To answer the second question first, fuck no, is the answer to that question. So listen, I accept the fact that in a situation that we're in right now with issues with the supply chain and chip shortages and this or the other, that retailers are going to bundle these consoles up into soft bundles, essentially, because to peel the curtain back a little bit, the retail margin on a brand new PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Switch
Slim.
is, I'll give you what it is. It's 5%.
Okay.
It's 5%. So for every dollar that they sell a new console for, the retailer's taking home a nickel. That's it. So if you're selling a PlayStation 5 for $500, then the retailer in that deal is only making I can't do math right now because it's bad. They're making $25. Sorry. Okay. That's the math there. So it does Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, Target, whoever, Amazon, no good at all for you to go into their store to just buy an Xbox Series X or just buy a PS5 and nothing else. Yep. So they're going to bundle those things with things that you have to buy in order so that they can make some money off of the sale, since the product is scarce right now. I accept that and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it when the service or when the things that they make you buy are relevant to the thing that you're buying. So like if they force you to buy an extra controller, a year of PlayStation Plus / Game Pass Ultimate,
sure,
and a game or two that they get to choose, like you don't get to choose the game, but they bundle a game or two with it, I have no problem with that. If you're making people pay $200 for your shitty fucking tech support service that you're providing so that they can get their shit fixed for a year, or they can get a discount on TV mounting because apparently like they're incapable of doing it themselves, or any of that bullshit. Like if that's the service that you're going to bundle in to force people to have this service to be able to purchase a PlayStation from you, go fuck yourself. Like, come on, like that. That's some fucking very anti-consumer friendly bullshit. Like GameStop's not even requiring, to my knowledge, they're not even requiring that. It's not like you don't even have to have a pro membership to buy this thing, and those are $15 for a year.
Right.
This is $200 for a year of shitty Best Buy Geek Squad support. Like that's what you're fucking paying for, is this. So let's see what you get. Let's see what you get with this. I'm on their total tech support page on there, because I'm
good on you for looking it up, because I wasn't going to.
Yeah. So I'm on this page. Here's what you get with this fucking shit service. You get remote virus removal, antivirus software, remote antivirus software installation, remote PC tune-ups. You don't even get to go in the fucking store. Like they just do it over the internet. You get a discount on TV mounting and audio setup. You don't even get that shit included. You just get a discount on it, which, by the way, they charge $200 to come to your house and mount your fucking television. Get the fuck out of my face. Like, you must be out of your damn mind. And then you get a discount on smart home services. So again, if you need them to set up your Wi-Fi, you get half off on that, which is normally $100. You'll pay $50. If you need them to install, your smart doorbell or wireless cameras, like that's, so basically you're paying $200 a year to get a discount.
Yep.
That's what you're doing. You get a discount on repair services. You get this is horseshit. Like, oh my God. Like, I cannot believe that they think this is a good PR move, but I'm sure people are buying it because what choice do they have? Like if they really want the system,
yeah.
If you're going to spend a premium anyway on some guy on eBay, like, I guess you might as well give it to Best Buy and get a shit service for it, I suppose. Yeah, I don't like
that's
this.
Something. No,
I don't like it at all.
No. I mean, no. I was gonna say, like, well, maybe if it's just they get like first dibs, but it's just like, but then they're gone anyway.
No, I don't like this one bit. No. Like I said, I looked at it and
I don't care for it.
It's horseshit. I don't care for it.
Well, that's it for the post office.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone who submitted after I put out my fucking APB for it earlier today. A lot of interesting questions this week. Really appreciate it. And again, that's on our Discord, so that's densepixels.com/fans to have access to the post office.
It is. And don't forget to go all around the TNP Studios car wash. Subscribe to all the TNP Studio shows wherever you get your podcasts. Go to youtube.com/densepixels. Hit the subscribe button to us there. Head over to twitch.tv. Hopefully your information won't get leaked. You can follow Suppets Carrie. You can follow Apparition 410 to see what Terrence is doing. You can follow me at Densepixels Brad. And Carrie, we're less than a month away
from my Extra Life stream. So I'll try to drop that link in the Discord again this week. Every little bit counts. All of that money goes directly to help the kids at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center in Baltimore. So it's a great cause. I'm playing Fallout New Vegas this year, and maybe a little bit of some other stuff too. I do want to set up the stream this week. I was going to last week, and then the hack happened, and I was just like, I don't want to fucking touch Twitch right now. So that got postponed. And don't forget to follow my band. We're called Quick Save. We're on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all these terrible websites. And I'm working on some new stuff for Quick Save. I'm working on the main theme from Paradise Killer, working on some Splatoon 2 stuff, working on some Deltarune Chapter 2 stuff. And this morning, I finished an arrangement of Eye to Eye from a Goofy movie, which I'm really excited about.
You also have merch now too, I saw.
We have stickers. If you want a sticker, I'll send you a sticker for free if you're following us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I will just mail it to you. But you got to show me that you're doing all three. But
I like the logo. It's a cool logo. Who designed it?
Thank you. My friend Lauren designed it. So big ups to her for doing that for us. We have a good look about us, I like to think. So hopefully we'll be booking some shows soon.
Awesome. Well,
and maybe we're working on an album.
Hey, very cool. So that's it for us this week. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening. We'll see you next week for episode number 400.
Yo, 400 is next week.
We're not doing anything special. So
we're not. I'm just like, that's a big number.
It is. It very much is.
We've been doing this. We've come a long way from the palatial apartments and
palatial ground floor studios. Yes.
Yeah, palatial ground floor studio at Micah's apartment in Baltimore.
So that's it. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.